Hey guys, welcome to Lion's Homestead. Today we're going to be making fresh milled bread packed with vitamins and nutrients to sustain your entire family. So let's get into it. First, let's talk about your choices of wheat. We have soft white wheat that can be used for baking cakes, pastries, pies, and lots of other delicious desserts. This grain is light and it gives you a flour that's nice and fluffy. Right here we have hard white wheat. Hard white wheat is what we use for making your yeast breads. That's going to be your sandwich breads, it's going to be your dinner rolls, and a lot of savory breads that require proofing or rising. You can also use hard red wheat, which is very similar to this. I find hard white wheat to be a little bit fluffier than red. This one right here is your kamut grain. You can see the grain is very nice. Kamut is so interesting. It's one of the ancient grains, and when you bake with it or add it to your recipes, it makes the bread really soft. So you have to be careful with your ratios, that when you add it to your bread, you don't add too much because it will give you a very soft dough, sometimes a little too soft if you add in a little too much. This one right here is spelt. I love this one. This one has a beautiful nutty flavor when you add it to the bread. You can use spelt to make all spelt breads, or sometimes you can take a little bit of spelt and mix it in with your hard red or hard white to get a wonderful product. Overall, these are some of the basic wheat berries to get you started. There are more available than this, but these are some of the basics that you would want to get and keep on hand to get your cakes, your pies, your pastries, your breads, your hamburger buns, and all of the things that you and your family need. Milling your own grains can transform your health for the better. We'll do some more in-depth videos on the health benefits of fresh milled bread really soon, so stay tuned for that. So when you get your olive oil, you want to make sure it's a good olive oil. We like this one from HEB because it's non-GMO verified, which means it has 0 GMO ingredients inside of it. And also, if you check here on the side, you'll see it's imported from only one place. But when you purchase olive oil, you want to make sure that it's from one place and not many different places. Lots of times when you see on there that it's from many different locations, it's cut with other oils like canola oil or soybean oil, and it wouldn't be considered truly an olive oil. So these are the things you want to look for. This brand in particular, I really like. It has a good flavor, it's non-GMO, and we feel like we can trust it. And it has this little barcode on the side that says scan to trace my journey. So when you scan the barcode, you can see where it's from the farm to packaging all the way to you. So this is the bread mill that I decided to get. It's called a Nutri-Mill. A Nutri-Mill is very cool. It can grind all of those wheat berries that we talked about before. And it will give you either a coarse flour or a fine flour. If you set the motor to this setting over here, then it will give you a more fine flour. And when you do the feed rate on the lower end as well, it allows the flour to go in a little bit slower and come out a lot finer. You just put the wheat berries here in the top portion of the Nutri-Mill and put the top on, put your settings, give it a go, you're ready. Okay, so right here we're going to be preparing our yeast. We're going to take 3.5 cups of warm water, not hot water because we don't want to kill our yeast, but warm water. And we're going to add 2¼ tablespoons of yeast to it and let it hang out for about 15 minutes. Once that's done, we're gonna add half a cup of extra virgin olive oil. To that, we're gonna add 1/2 cup of honey. Just putting everything here together. After that, we're going to add 3 1/4 teaspoons of salt to make sure we give it a little flavor. And now we're going to start incorporating our wheat little by little. We're going to end up adding close to 9 cups of the hard white wheat flour, but we're going to just put in a couple cups at a time. So you want to just put in a little bit at a time and let your bread mixer do its thing and incorporate all of the ingredients. So you see I'm kind of taking it slow here, and I stopped the mixer, and we're going to go ahead and add a little bit more flour. We don't want it to work too hard, and we don't want it to get clumpy too fast. So we want to get a good stretchy dough. So that's why we're just adding a little bit at a time. So now we're going to go ahead and give it another whirl. And as you can see, the dough is going to start coming together and incorporating well. You'll start to see everything start to form like crumbs. And then after crumbs, you'll actually start to see it looking a little bit more like a dough. So again, we're stopping it and we're giving it a little bit more of the flour. I like to go slower. I'm a novice bread maker, so I'm very new to it, and I've just found that when you go slow, it works better. Every time I try to go fast, I mess up the bread. So this is just something that I've learned. I try to take my time. It's better to move a little bit slower to make sure you get a good consistency with your bread instead of going too fast. So you see right here, it's coming together a little bit more like a dough. So we're gonna go ahead and put a wet tea towel over our mixer, let it hang out for 15 minutes so that those grains start to soak up that liquid. And then we're gonna go ahead and start it up again after 15 minutes. Now you can see it actually looks like a dough. So our bread mixer got in there and kneaded that dough for us. We didn't have to do it on the countertop. I've done it that way and it's all right. But when you got a big family, this is just really the way to go. So right here, I'm taking the dough, I'm taking a piece of it, rolling it out a little bit, and we're just gonna see what stretch we have. We're looking for something called a window pane. And they call it a window pane because you really wanna stretch the bread to where it's almost translucent. That's when you know that the gluten, it has formed enough to give you a good bread. So we're ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and take our dough out of the mixer. I'm gonna add a little bit of olive oil to my granite countertop just to help me so I don't have a sticky mess. Our dough is a little tacky, but it's not too sticky. So it's easy to work with. So we're gonna go ahead and take that out. And we're gonna go ahead and start flattening it out so we can form our loaves. Now this particular recipe can give you 3 small loaves, but I have 1 long Pullman's tin loaf, so I'm going to use that, and then I'm going to use a smaller bread loaf. So I'll get 2 loaves of bread, a large one and a small one. So right here, I'm just stretching the dough out, and we're going to just eyeball it, cut it. You know, I want to get enough for my long Pullman's tin loaf and enough for my smaller loaf. So I'm just going to sit that to the side for the smaller loaf. And again, like I told you, I'm new to bread making. I just love it. And I'm really doing this video because I want to encourage women like me that are new to this to say, hey, look guys, you don't have to do it perfect. It doesn't have to look Instagram ready to make bread, right? But when you do this for your family, it is going to be awesome. So be forgiving of yourself and just continue to try, do your best, and you know, do your research, watch other videos, and try to get good. But as you see here, I'm not doing it perfect, but my loaf is gonna come out great. So I'm just folding it over. I'm rolling it up here on the seams of the bread and on the ends, so that I can form a little loaf. Now, some people do this a little bit better. You know, you get better with practice. But I've learned that as long as you roll it out, you pinch those seams, and you get it in the pan and it rises, you're going to get a good bread. And for added nutrition, my family likes to add moringa powder. I didn't include it in this recipe because it might not be for everyone, but moringa powder is very powerful and it adds a lot of nutrition to the bread. You can give it a try. It's not suggested for pregnant people, but if you're not a pregnant person, you can definitely add it to this bread and it will give it a great flavor and added nutrition. We're going to go ahead and shape our smaller dough, and we're going to use the rolling pin to roll it out and get it nice and flat so we can start rolling it. You're rolling it into a little log and you're just trying to take the air out and cup the corners so that you can make a dough shape. Basically, you're trying to make it whatever shape you give it is the shape that it's going to have. That's why I like to pinch those little seams. Some people don't pinch the seams. Some people are really good with kind of rolling it on the surface to get a good dough, a good shape. But for me, I just, I pinch it, roll it. If it looks close enough, we're gonna roll with it. So this is where, we just give it a good roll and put it into our container, into our pan. I promise you, your house is going to smell amazing. It's something about this fresh milled bread that when it fills the house with this beautiful aroma and scent, it's just like very sensory based. It makes everyone feel happy. It gives you a warm feeling and everyone is excited for the bread. So here we have all our bread ready to go. We're going to cover it with a warm tea towel and let it rise. You want to let it rise till it's about double in size. And we're just going to test to see if it's done. I'm going to give it a little poke. Not too much, just a little poke. And you see it didn't bounce back. If it doesn't bounce back, it's good to say it's ready to go in the oven. If it bounced back, we want to cover it with our little tea towel and let it go a little further. And voila, here you are. It baked for 35 minutes at 350 degrees in the oven, and it turned out marvelous. Look at that beautiful top, beautiful brown top. Your kids are gonna love it. Your husband is gonna love it, and it's gonna be so healthy, way healthier than white flour. So we're just gonna go ahead and dump these out. We're gonna dump it out while it's still hot because we don't want it to stay in the pan because we don't want the condensation from the pan to make our bread wet. So we're just gonna turn it over and we're just gonna put it on a drying rack so that it can dry. And when it cools down, we can give it a little slice. You wanna try not to be too anxious to cut it too soon. Let it cool off. You'll get a better sliced bread. And right here, we're just slicing it up. Look at how beautiful that bread is. I mean, absolutely amazing. You are going to be so astonished and proud of yourself when you see how wonderful your homemade bread will come out. Look right here. I'm squishing it. I'm really squishing it, guys. And it's still holding its shape. So that's a good thing. It's going to make great peanut butter and jelly. It's going to make great toast. You can put this with as a side with your dishes. And I had to give it a little try. And hey guys, it's delicious. You're going to love this. So I hope you guys give it a try. Try to mill your own wheat. Try to avoid the white flour. And you're going to see it's absolutely delicious and you'll never go back. So be sure to stay tuned for more videos about fresh milled bread and all the health benefits that you and your family can enjoy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. We'll see you next time.